Seasoned public health students, I'm going to use this video to walk you through how to play our bubonic plague simulation in class. So you'll just click on the link right here, bubonic plague simulation. It'll take you to an assignment, a quiz technically, that'll look like this. Please carefully read the instructions and open the links that you need to. And only once you're done entering your data and going through your either pilgrimage or trade route, then you can answer the quiz questions that are below that. There's just 5 of them. But we'll need most of the class's data to answer those questions too. So you're going to need to open a few things first. So the whole point of this is that you are going to be traveling to a variety of towns and villages on a pilgrimage or trading voyage in the mid-1300s. So this is the era of the Black Death. So let's see if you can make it. You're going to need an online dice roller. So if you click on this link here, it just takes you to Google. If you just Google search online dice roller, generates this nifty little kind of app here. We'll mostly be using 6-sided die as well as a 10 and 20-sided die. But you just click on the type of dice you want on the bottom, click roll. You can bring up 2 if you want and roll them at the same time as well. That's something else you'll be doing. To erase them, you just click on them again on the screen. So then you can bring up like 10 and 20 together and roll those together. So again, that's something we'll be kind of messing around with. You'll also need to choose one of these journeys. You can either do a pilgrimage or a trading voyage. I'm going to go ahead and choose pilgrimage number 3. If you click on that, it should take you to just a Google Doc that has a list of your stops. There's always 14 cities that you'll be visiting. And there's also kind of a little rule here. So for pilgrims, you have religiously enforced hygiene, which means upon your first exposure to the plague, if you actually are exposed to the plague in the game, you do have a chance to sort of avoid actually being infected by it. What you're going to do is pull up on the dice roller, pull up 2 4-sided dice like that, and then roll them. And if they come up with 2 of the same number, they didn't here, but if they were to come up with 2 of the same number, then you can avoid then you have actually avoided that infection. But if they come up with different numbers, as I keep getting, then you are infected and you have died. So like that, if that had happened, then you would be able to move on. For traders, people on a trading route journey, you don't have very good hygiene, but there is a slight chance of recovering. So you're going to do the same thing, but you have to do it with 2 6-sided die. So upon your first exposure, you can pull up 2 6-sided die and hit roll. And if they come up with the same number, then you have recovered and you can move on. But again, both for pilgrims and for traders, that's only for your first exposure, right? If you are exposed to the Black Death a second time, you can't do that again. You are infected and you will die. Okay, so those rules are explained down here on the bottom as well as in the instructions. But again, here's my pilgrimage. So these are the 14 stops that we're going to make and the 14 rounds that you're going to do in the game. So then we need information about the city. So you need to open up the Plague City reference Google Sheet. So this is showing you each of the cities in alphabetical order, so they should be easy to find and look up. And this is basically showing you the chance of infection. So when you're rolling the dice, and you're going to be rolling a 10-sided dice and a 20-sided dice together and looking at the total that they roll. You'll see this in a second. But for example, if you're visiting Algiers, if you roll a 5, a 10, or a 15, you're going to become infected with the plague. Any other number, you're okay. So that's what that is going to be used for. And then the last thing you need to open is our actual data sheet. So this last thing here, bubonic plague simulation data sheet, open that up. And here are, again, kind of simple instructions as well as a color guide about how you're going to indicate when you've been infected or not. So you should be able to find your name here in the top list. Again, you're all listed alphabetically by last name. Going all the way across, and just here are the 14 rounds that you're going to do, and you're just recording the city and the number of nights that you stayed there. And again, I'm going to fill in this example column as we go through, just so you can watch how this should work, and it'll be a good kind of test run for me as well. Okay, so let's do this. I chose the pilgrimage number 3, so my first stop is going to be Rotterdam. So I'm going to enter that into the sheet here. This is my column. Rotterdam was the first stop, and we're going to record the number of nights. So to determine how many nights that you stayed there, you're going to pull up a 6-sided dice and roll it once. So how many nights did I stay in Rotterdam? I stayed there 4 nights. Enter that into here. Now the reason this is important is because now I'm going to roll the 10-sided dice and 20-sided dice 4 times to see if I got infected with or exposed to the plague. And in Rotterdam, if I look up Rotterdam right here, so Rotterdam, I've got 3 possible chances of being exposed to the plague. If I roll a total of 5, total of 10, or total of 15. So now I'm looking for 5, 10, or 15. So again, pull up a 20-sided dice and a 10-sided dice together, and then roll them. I'm going to roll them 4 times for 4 nights. And again, if I get 5, 10, or 15, then I have been infected. Okay, clear on the first night, clear on the second night, clear on the third night, clear on the fourth night. Okay, I was not infected on that journey. And so now you just leave that. Normal is just you were not exposed. So now then my next round after Rotterdam, I went to London. Gonna highlight that, insert that. And then once again, I'm going to go back to the dice roller, close down these 2, pull up a 6-sided dice, roll this once to determine how many nights I stayed. I stayed in London for 3 nights. I'm going to enter that in here, 3. And now let's check London. So London, I only have, if I roll a 5, a total of 5, then I've been infected. And I was there for 3 nights. So again, I'm going to pull up the 20-sided and 10-sided dice together. See if I roll a total of 5. I've got 3 nights there. First night clear. Second night clear. Third night clear, right? So all set in London. Next stop is Maidstone. Gonna enter that in here. Again, gonna close down these dice, pull up a 6-sided dice, and roll it to determine how many nights I'm in Maidstone. I'm in there 3 nights. And now let's look up Maidstone. Maidstone again, it's only if I roll a total of 5. Close that, bring up the 10 and 20-sided dice again. Here we go. 3 nights. Oh, okay, I was exposed on the first night. Okay, so now I'm a pilgrim, so this is my first exposure, so I am allowed to pull up 2 4-sided dice, pilgrims, since I've religiously enforced hygiene, roll them once, and if they come up with the same number, I would be cleared, but they didn't, and so I have been infected and died in Maidstone. And so the indicator for that is just going to be infected and dead in red, right there. Oops, actually, sorry, not text. Keep the text color black. We want to do the background. Background is right there. Make the background red. And that's it. I only made it through three rounds. So we'll see how everyone else does, and then we'll come together to reflect on that. So once you're done, don't move on to answer the questions quite then, because you're going to have an easier time answering the questions on the quiz once you're able to see everybody's data. But what you can do is there's some videos you can watch, or you can just hang out. But if you do a diary, you can watch this plague, these videos down here, how the plague caused the Industrial Revolution in Europe, or SciShow, how will the plague rise again? And again, please just make sure you're following the instructions carefully, and then once we have the full class data, you can move on to answer the quiz questions. Hope this was helpful. Thanks.